Hello, and thank you for listening. My name is Luke Mardigian, and you are listening to Be Insured, where we talk about business, leadership, and insurance. That way, on your worst day, when you need it the most, you will be insured. There's a critical error that I see so many business owners make. They view their staff like a football team. They take account of all the players they have, the strengths, the weaknesses of each player, and they assign them positions, hoping for the best. But what if I told you this is not a good way to lead your team? In fact, what if your ability to be a good boss has more to do with getting to know yourself than it is assigning people to the right position? Today, we're going to talk about leadership identity and how working to understand your own is one of the best ways you can start becoming a better leader. And and joining me today for this conversation is my awesome co-host,
Eric Gastring, the Mardigian Agency.
Hey, Eric. Do you think most business owners know who they are?
I would say probably not. I think more often than not, they don't.
I agree. So this is what you have. You have a bunch of leaders who have been taught by people who go all the way back to the, 120 years ago to the military-industrial revolution and the military-industrial complex, right? We've talked about this last episode on Are You Controlling or Are You Leading? If you haven't checked that out, give a listen. We really dig into that. And you have these leaders who aren't taught to know themselves. They are taught to believe whatever their leadership teaches them. Mm-hmm. So you have a bunch of business owners running around with borrowed values and borrowed beliefs that they never really bought into, but they don't know any different. Did you ever experience that when you were in the Navy?
Yeah, I definitely did. So if you don't believe yourself in what's happening or the mission, or you see flaws and you don't feel comfortable with it, you're not going to be as effective as having a full belief that the mission is going to be successful.
Well, the big difference between the military or even industry and the Industrial Revolution is that today's business owners get to pick their own beliefs.
Yeah.
Here in America, we have the opportunity to develop our own beliefs and values and lead our organizations how we want to. If you believe that saving trees in the Brazilian rainforest is what's important, that's what you value, then you can.
You have the freedom to do so.
Yeah. If that's your big thing and that's what matters to you, then you can. And no one on earth can tell you, no, that isn't something you can value. And so when you step into the leadership role in your business, you don't have to be the command officer in the military who does what he's told because that's what the P&P says to do. You can actually come up with your own playbook and come up with original beliefs, come up with your own values.
And find people that have the same ones.
Yes. Or help them understand that they already believe what you believe, which is actually, we did a show, a month or so ago on finding your ideal client. And that's part of it, is you have to find people who believe what you believe. And if you don't, you're constantly going to have you're butting heads. Mm-hmm. Because if what you believe is you're a boutique insurance agency who properly protects people from the actual risk they face so that on their worst day, they know they're covered. Mm-hmm. Their policy does exactly what they need it to do, because how much is a policy is worth that doesn't do that?
Nothing.
It's worth nothing.
Yeah.
If they don't believe that, then the second their price goes up $2 a month, they're going to call and complain.
Yep.
Because their concern is not, I believe I need to be protected from actual risk.
And we have the freedom to choose the right clients.
That's right.
Yep.
And we have the freedom to ask clients to leave if they don't believe what we believe.
Well, let's go back to the football team scenario because I like it a lot.
Yeah.
You can look at Tom Brady, the Patriots, and their success because why? Why do you think that is?
Bill Belichick.
But what else?
I don't know. Where are you going with it? I don't know.
What do you think? Don't you think that they all believed in the same things and they knew their identities and their roles?
Do you know what the Patriots and Bill Belichick believe in?
What?
Winning.
Yep.
And guess what they get paid to do?
Win.
And
the thing is they're not all superstars. What was Tom Brady drafted as?
Right, six round. Yeah, something crazy.
Then you look at people like Terrell Owens.
Yeah, right.
An incredible specimen. He's got all the talent in the world.
Yep.
He just doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, never established it. It was just a big ego.
So he was gone.
Anything. Yep. And, that's that. Your point is exactly my point, is that most people look at things like a football team as opposed to how the Patriots look at things. I don't think Bill Belichick looks at it like a football team like most people think.
More like a family because they're all on the same page, right?
Right. It's all about excellence, execution, winning. Their values are very clear, and when you go to their organization, they make it very clear that either you're going to get with the program or you're going to leave.
And then the people earn their spots versus just this dude had the best, run at the combine.
Exactly.
So he's going to be our starting for this position.
It's interesting. They are well known for drafting undervalued draft picks.
Look at Edelman. Look at Gronk. Look at all of them.
Time after time, they've drafted these people who were kind of passed over by other teams and turned them into champions.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? It's because the difference is the other teams look at their personnel and they fit their offense to the personnel and they have no clear value or vision. Now, they'll come out and say they do, but they typically don't. If you remember, about 10 years ago, CMU won the Division I AA championship.
Yeah. Row the boat thing.
Row the boat, right. They all had this common value system of, hey, look, we all have our own individual things to do on each play, but we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. We're all putting the effort toward the same thing, which is to win.
And then that coach ended up in the NFL coaching the Rams, right?
Yeah, and he's doing okay.
And then the team ended up not as good the next year, and then the next year.
Exactly. But a bunch of players from that team got drafted.
Yep.
They're in the league for quite a while.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of really solid players, and it's so other teams look at it as just, hey, what personnel do I have? How can I fit it to it? I remember, sorry if you're listening and you're not a football fan or you don't know football. This analogy is too good for business owners because it's the same feel, right? Like most small businesses are between 10 and 50 people, right? That's who we're speaking to. That's what our organization is. And a football team has 22 players on the field. They typically have around 90 to 100 total, but only like 50 of them play. So like football teams, as far as organization size, that's a perfect analogy. And what most teams do is they say, oh yeah, I remember one of the guys that played high school with walked on at Michigan State University after we graduated. And when he came on, he was part of an offense that they ran the I formation, which has a fullback. And he was a fullback. He was like 235 pounds. He ran like a 4.6 40. I mean, just genetic freak. He's a doctor now, so he's just a genetic freak all the way around. But Jason walked on, and then that year that coach left, and another coach came in, John L. Smith, running the spread offense, which has no fullback. And they turned him into a tight end. Like just talk about lack of vision and understanding what you have in front of you, right? Like John L. Smith's career in MSU was not very successful in the grand scheme of things. And it's because he viewed people as pieces of the puzzle to put in place and to do what he wants, as opposed to creating an overall core value system where everybody understands the direction you're going in.
Yeah, and then his identity was fullback, and you just put him at tight end.
Yeah, and guess what he didn't like?
Being a tight end.
Yes.
I have to run routes? What?
Yeah, and block defensive ends and stuff. Like, fullback's supposed to block like a linebacker typically, not a 320-pound defensive tackle.
I have a question. How do people know that they're struggling with their identity?
I have a list here of clues. Thank you for keying me up on that. So here's some clues you struggle with identity. You're not sure why you're in business. So many business owners that I coach have no idea why they're rolling out of bed in the morning, other than I have to pay the bills. I have to keep the doors open. I have to because nobody else will.
Because people depend on me.
Yeah. That's a terrible, because that's anything that's external. Any external motivators will go away when it gets really, really tough, and you'll hit the eject button. That's when you hear, coaches like SealFit. SealFit talks about, when you go into it, your why has to be intrinsic. It has to be inside of you. It has to be your reason for going to Buds to become a Navy SEAL, because it is the hardest training in the world. So if you don't have that internal why, if your why is, I'm going to do it to make my dad proud, you're going to give up, because your dad's pride is not enough to motivate you through the darkest, coldest nights when you feel alone and you're getting your butt kicked, period.
Yep.
And so if you don't know why, if you don't have some intrinsic why inside yourself, you're struggling with identity. If you find it difficult to initiate prospecting, you have a strong identity issue. There's something in your value system that says, I shouldn't bug people, or I want people to like me, or I shouldn't have to do this. Someone else should do this for me. Another clue that you're struggling with identity, you find sales scripts difficult to deliver. They don't feel natural. There's a reason for that. It's because of what we talked about. You're borrowing other people's values. You're literally taking someone else's script who values completely different things than you and trying to use them yourself. How many people have we coached on things that have made us successful, and they use it and their response is, it didn't work for me? All the time, right?
Yeah, that's the norm.
Yeah, and we get it all the time. And there's a reason for that. So that's why in today's world, everybody's starting to get really, really skeptical of the coaches that you can get out there. You see like, Facebook ads and stuff, all these programs, because, hey, the perfect webinar script. Well, that's the perfect webinar script for you based upon what you value, based upon your beliefs, based upon your identity. I'm not you. Mm-hmm. So I could fake it. And sometimes you do have to fake it till you make it. But generally speaking, you're struggling with identity if you don't like sales scripts, because you need to come up with your own. You're struggling with identity if your target client is everyone and you have no niche. This happens because you have no choice, right? This is like a survival thing.
I mean, I think most people start out having everybody, right?
Right.
Until you get to a place where you're aware of where you need to be and you can move forward. But you have to build a business at the beginning by having everyone, in my opinion.
Well, I think most people don't know what they value and what they believe. And so what happens is, and honestly, I would say 80% of business owners never actually look at who their ideal client is and start cutting everybody who isn't. A company that, we've had Mike Maddox on the show several times. He owns ASK. They are a internet security solutions company. They went through a program and they came up with their perfect patron, their ideal client. And they literally called up everyone and said, you have two options. Either you can become our perfect patron or you can leave. And here's the companies that can handle your other stuff if you don't want to become a perfect patron. And they lost several large accounts, but they are more profitable than ever. It's almost like they know what they believe in and what matters. And they believe in IT security and they want a holistic approach to it. So if you don't want to take a holistic approach to IT security,
then you're not a good fit.
You're not a good fit. But there's other companies who will just do your malware or just do recovery after you get phished.
And it all makes sense because if you look at it like that, the micro of that, you're exhausting more resources on less that you're bringing in. Yes. You know what I mean? You're not bringing enough revenue in as you are investing time into these little things.
Well, it's so interesting. I'm part of a group with other insurance agents, and what I hear on there all the time is them complaining about their not ideal client. So it's like double wasting of effort and time, because first you're coming in and you don't have your ideal client. And then not only are you letting them waste your staff's time and your time trying to solve a problem that you can never solve because they don't believe what you believe in the beginning, but you're also complaining about it to other people. You just triple wasted. If you took that same amount of effort and went out and found your perfect patron, your niche, that client who is an A++, you probably go find one in that same amount of time and make more money and have less headaches down the road.
Well, also those people end up being the good clients that have less issues. They're not giving pushback, not concerned about their price because they actually fit into what we need for your identities to match.
Yes. And when they have an issue, they handle it in a way that you believe, which is like for us, I want you to call me and make me aware of the issue and give me an opportunity to solve it within a reasonable amount of time.
Not expect me to read your mind.
Yes, because people will literally be like, hey, did you send my certificate of insurance to my mortgage lender? I'm refinancing my house. Like, what, did you ask us for it? Well, no, but don't you just know about that? No, like one of our core values is relationship. You can't have a relationship if all my wife ever did was just have nonverbal expectations, I could never meet her expectations. If it was just like, hey, did you do the dishes? Did you ask me to do the dishes? Well, no, but you're supposed to know to do the dishes. And it's like, well, maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say. Mm-hmm. But that's a key to success there. So how do you find your identity? We got about a minute left in the show here, and I want to just scratch the surface of this. Number one, you need a coach, period. If I were to recommend anybody, I'd recommend Unleashed Academy, Richard Shaw. You can just Google Unleashed CEO or the Unleashed Academy, and you will find his program. He deep dives this identity topic like no one I've ever seen. He has years of research into this. It's incredible. It changed my life. And, I think the first step is getting a coach, because if you could figure out what you believed in your identity on your own, you would already be there.
But you have to have the right coach. Somebody that understands that you need to have an identity and know your identity.
And somebody who's been where you've been, right? So many business coaches come in as they were successful in some other industry, and they're going to tell you how to be successful in your industry, and they've never been successful in your industry. Again, that's like hiring a baseball coach to run the Patriots.
And you can have a coach that you outgrow.
Yes, absolutely. So sometimes you start with a coach, they help you develop some things, and then you need to keep moving up. I think the team that has the whole package is the Unleashed CEO, or you can go to any of the EOS coaches, Entrepreneur Operating System. They do a great job too. And if there were one thing I would have you take away, it'd be that. Hire a coach, invest in yourself, discover your values that drive your beliefs, that form your identity, that help you make decisions on a daily basis. It is going to help you lead your team better than you ever could imagine. So we hope you found today's show helpful. As always, be sure to stay in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram by following The Mardigian Agency. That's at The Mardigian Agency, Mardigian. And Eric, how can people connect with you?
On Facebook and Instagram, Facebook, Eric Stephen Gestring, and Instagram, Eric Farm Bureau.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time on Be Insured.